Shedeur Sanders offered $275 million to leave Cleveland. Wait, what? $275 million. $275 million. Shedeur Sanders, the face of the franchise, the quarterback prodigy who finally gave Cleveland hope, has been hit with a record-shattering offer from not one, but two NFL powerhouses, the Baltimore Ravens and the New Orleans Saints. And these aren't your average poaching attempts. These are strategic invasions. Let's call it what it is: NFL free agency's version of psychological warfare. The number alone is enough to short-circuit any calculator. But it's not just the money. It's the message, the structure, the intent behind it. This $275 million bombshell isn't just about signing a quarterback. It's about redefining the league. It's about blowing up every traditional idea of player retention, rookie contracts, and what a young QB is supposed to be worth.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And Cleveland? Cleveland's scrambling. Because this isn't just about losing a player. It's about losing the franchise, the identity, the future. And let's be honest, this is Cleveland we're talking about. A team with a quarterback history so cursed, it makes horror movies look optimistic. When Shedeur Sanders landed in their lap, it felt like fate was finally being kind. A quarterback with talent, vision, leadership and star power? A literal generational player? Finally, the Browns had something to build around. Now that something is one signature away from leaving them in the dust, and possibly permanently rewriting NFL contract history. Let's break down what's happening behind the scenes. First, the Ravens. Classic move. Baltimore knows what they're doing. They've built their whole reputation around smart front office decisions and capitalizing on weak links. And right now, Cleveland's internal chaos is a wide open door. Reports say they're dangling more than just cash. We're talking fully guaranteed money, ownership stakes in branding ventures, input in coaching staff hires, long-term player development strategy centered around Sanders. In other words, they're not offering a contract. They're offering an empire. Then there's the Saints. The Saints. Smooth, strategic, southern charm wrapped in gold and black. Their offer is reportedly more nuanced, heavy on global marketing partnerships, performance-based escalators that could make Shedeur the highest-paid player in NFL history, and a promise to build a new era around his leadership. Basically, you won't just play for us. You'll define us. So what's Cleveland doing in response? Right now? Flailing. The front office is in meltdown mode. Ownership is in full damage control. Coaches are texting like their jobs depend on it, which, to be fair, they absolutely do. There's a growing sense that they didn't just underestimate the market. They underestimated the value of Shedeur's presence. Not just as a player but as a global icon in the making. This isn't just about yards, touchdowns, or completion rates. It's about brand equity. Shedeur Sanders has reach, influence, cultural weight. His name rings out in rooms that don't even watch football. Nike? Interested. Amazon? Watching closely. International markets? Salivating. And teams like the Ravens and Saints? They're not just bidding for a QB. They're bidding for the future of the NFL brand. Meanwhile, Cleveland's biggest offer so far? Barely sniffing $200 million. With limited guarantees. And reportedly, this is the wild part, zero creative control. Seriously? How do you fumble this hard? And it's not just the offer. It's the environment. Cleveland is dealing with a reputation problem. Rumors of dysfunction. Infighting in the coaching staff. An ownership group that can't decide if they're rebuilding or contending. Combine that with fanbase fatigue and media skepticism, and you've got a storm that even Shedeur's talent might not want to weather. The locker room energy? Reportedly tense. The public? Furious. Terrified. Distrustful. Because make no mistake, if Shedeur walks, it's over. The fanbase knows it. The players know it. The city feels it. And that looming $275 million isn't just a contract. It's a siren. It's a test. It's a challenge to Cleveland. Are you built to keep greatness, or are you doomed to lose it again? And let's not forget there's another layer here. Legacy. Shedeur Sanders isn't just any player. He's the son of Deion Sanders. Primetime himself. A man who redefined swagger in football. A man who built his entire career on knowing his value, and making sure everyone else did too. You think Shedeur didn't learn that blueprint? He knows what he's worth. He knows how rare he is. And he knows exactly how this works. He doesn't need Cleveland. But Cleveland? They need him more than they've ever needed anyone. And right now it's unclear whether they're willing, or even able, to pay the cost of keeping him. This negotiation isn't just about money. It's about philosophy. It's about the old way versus the new way. It's about whether NFL teams are finally ready to empower young black quarterbacks to not only lead on the field, but to build empires off of it. Baltimore and New Orleans are saying yes. Cleveland? Still deciding. And that indecision could cost them everything. Now the pressure's building. Fast. You've got fans staging online protests. You've got Twitter in meltdown mode with hashtags trending that we won't even name here. Sports talk shows are setting up daily Shedeur watch segments. And every hour Cleveland waits, the Ravens and Saints gain leverage. What happens next? That's the billion-dollar question. Because if Shedeur takes that $275 million offer and walks, it won't just shake up the Browns, it'll shake up the entire league. You'll see front offices scrambling to rework rookie contracts. Players demanding more control. Market values skyrocketing. The old rules? Out the window. This move could become the blueprint. A seismic shift. The moment the power officially tilted toward the player. And if Cleveland lets it happen? If they let Shedeur walk without matching the vision, not just the number? They won't just lose a quarterback. They'll lose everything he stood for. Hope. Relevance. Momentum. Future. Gone. So what do you think? Should Shedeur take the $275 million and reshape the NFL from a new city? Or stay and become the face of Cleveland's long-awaited redemption? Is this smart business, or straight-up betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you live for the big money drama, the quarterback chaos, and the moments that redefine the game, smash that subscribe button. Because this Shedeur Sanders saga? It's not over. Not even close. And when the dust settles, only one city will be left standing with the king. Cleveland finally gets it right. After decades of fumbled drafts, rotating QBs, awkward rebuilds, and locker room implosions, the Browns land the golden ticket. Shedeur Sanders. A generational talent with generational presence. Not just a QB1 but a walking brand. A cultural force. The kind of player that gives your team relevance, your city energy, and your ownership something to brag about. And now, that golden ticket's on the verge of being cashed in by someone else. Because Baltimore and New Orleans didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it in with $275 million worth of franchise-shattering offers. And while Cleveland's still fumbling around trying to evaluate cap flexibility, these other teams are setting the table, pouring champagne, and offering Shedeur the keys to the kingdom. And let's be real, Cleveland fans? They've seen this movie before. This is a fanbase traumatized by what if. What if we drafted that guy? What if we kept that coach? What if we hadn't ruined that season? And now the biggest what if of them all is on the horizon. What if we let Shedeur walk? Because if that happens, it's over. Not just this season. Not just next season. Not just another reset button. This would be existential. An all-time implosion. You don't recover from losing the best thing that ever happened to you, because you were too slow, too scared, or too stuck in the past to see what was happening in real time. Right now, the Browns are in a chess match they didn't prepare for. And while they're sitting there talking about roster dynamics and internal evaluations, Baltimore and New Orleans are playing four-dimensional chess in a room full of mirrors. Because this isn't just about football. This is about control. This is about power. This is about a new class of players rewriting the rules of engagement. And Shedeur is leading the movement. Here's what's wild. Cleveland could have avoided this. They had him. He was there. He was ready to be the guy. And all they had to do? Match the vision. Match the energy. Match the moment. But they got comfortable. They thought loyalty was enough. They thought being the team that drafted him somehow made them untouchable. And now, they're watching him weigh offers that include things like full contract guarantees. Yep, fully guaranteed. Hello, Deshaun 2.0, but without the PR baggage. Global marketing partnerships with equity. Creative input on the offensive scheme. Performance escalators that break every salary precedent in the book. Personalized athlete branding departments built around him. Meanwhile, Cleveland's over here offering another year of drama? Nah, Shedeur's too smart for that. Too savvy. Too ready. This is a player raised by primetime himself. You think he doesn't know his worth? You think he doesn't know what legacy looks like? Dion didn't just teach him how to play, he taught him how to move. And right now, Shedeur's moving like someone who understands that he's not just a quarterback, he's a business model. And whichever team lands him, they're not just getting stats, they're getting a future. That's what Baltimore and New Orleans understand. And that's what Cleveland's ownership refuses to accept. Let's talk emotions. Because this story isn't just playing out on the field, it's playing out in the hearts of millions of fans. And those fans? They're spiraling. Cleveland's timeline is a war zone right now. People are holding prayer circles over their custom Sanders jerseys. Sports radio sounds like a group therapy session. And it's not just anger, it's heartbreak. Because deep down everyone knows, if this slips away it's not just another L. It's the L. The final one. The kind that leaves a stain you never wash off. And the worst part? It's so preventable. All Cleveland had to do was meet the moment. Not with tired cliches and hollow, "we value him" statements, but with action. You knew the offers were coming. You knew the league was watching. You knew Shedeur's market value was rising with every game, every viral post, every win. But you sat on your hands. You played it safe. And now the Wolves are at the door. And they're offering Shedeur Sanders a chance to become bigger than Cleveland. Bigger than the game. A legacy player with control, security, and the freedom to build something his way. Because that's what this comes down to. Control. It's not just about money anymore. It's about freedom. Influence. Identity. It's about players saying, "You're not going to treat me like a cog in a machine. You're going to treat me like a partner." Baltimore gets that. New Orleans gets that. Even fans get that. The only ones who seem to be behind? The people running Cleveland's front office. And that's what's truly terrifying here. Not the offer. Not the risk. Not even the media storm. It's the fact that Cleveland might actually not understand what they're about to lose. That they might not understand the ripple effect of this decision. If they let Shedeur go, recruiting dies. Free agency dries up. Fans check out. And every young player watching from college sidelines takes note. Cleveland had a generational star, and they let him walk. That's a death sentence. Not for the team's existence, but for its reputation. So now the clock is ticking. Every hour the deal becomes more real. Every day the public pressure turns up. Every press conference, every vague comment, every "we're committed to him" line just makes it worse. The world's watching. Shedeur's listening. And the question on everyone's mind is, will Cleveland wake up in time? Because here's the brutal truth. You don't get many chances like this. Players like Shedeur don't come around often. And when they do, you protect them like treasure. You build around them. You move heaven and earth to keep them happy. Not because you're desperate, but because you're smart. You don't just sign Shedeur Sanders. You build an era around him. And if Cleveland can't, or won't, do that, then maybe he should go. Maybe it's time for him to walk into a franchise that sees the full picture. That's not just chasing wins but building a dynasty. That understands modern football is about more than what happens on Sundays. It's about vision, power, brand, legacy. So here we are. A franchise on the brink. A league holding its breath. And a 22-year-old quarterback with a $275 million decision sitting in his lap, and the weight of two cities on his shoulders. What will he do? We're all about to find out. The Cleveland Browns are unraveling. Publicly. Loudly. Painfully. Because this isn't just a money problem. This is a relevancy crisis. A franchise that clawed its way out of a decades-long ditch, only to trip over itself the second the light got bright. Shedeur Sanders was supposed to be the one. The savior. The face of a new, competent Cleveland era. And now, he's one signature away from making them irrelevant again. Let's not mince words here. $275 million is not a normal number. It's a number that breaks barriers. It's a number that tears up the rookie contract handbook and sets it on fire in the middle of the stadium. This isn't just the highest rookie QB offer in history. It's a message. It's the Ravens and Saints saying, "We know what he is. We know what he means. And we'll build an entire kingdom around him if it gets him in our building." And meanwhile, Cleveland's message is, "We're thinking about it." Thinking. You don't think when a generational quarterback is being poached. You act. You match energy. You match intent. You bring every executive into the war room and figure it out. Instead, the Browns are leaking uncertainty like a cracked pipe in a Cleveland winter. They're talking cap space, long-term viability, competitive offers. But Shedeur? He's not looking for numbers. He's looking for vision. The other teams get that. Baltimore is showing him what a franchise looks like when structure meets swagger. New Orleans is offering him the keys to the brand. A QB with equity in the story they're about to write. Cleveland? Cleveland still thinks this is a negotiation. Spoiler, it's not. This is a test. A public, franchise-defining, pass/fail test. And so far, they're flunking. Because here's what Shedeur knows, and what these teams have figured out. He's not just a quarterback. He's a movement. He's the future of the position. Not just statistically but culturally. He represents a new era of player. Fast, smart, marketable, connected, powerful. He has the stats, sure, but he also has the audience, the camera presence, the global appeal. He's the perfect storm of on-field talent and off-field empire. And you don't lowball that. You don't stall on that. You build around it or you get left behind. Now, let's take a second to really understand what this contract would mean. This $275 million? It's more than a number. It's a symbol. A stake in the ground that says, this is the direction we're going now. Full guarantees. Marketing control. Playbook influence. Performance escalators that could put Shedeur into the $300 million plus range if he delivers. This is the kind of deal that forces the NFL to evolve. That says, players are not just pieces. They are partners. And right now, two teams are ready to walk that walk. And Cleveland? Still circling the wagons. Still acting like they have the leverage. Here's a spoiler for the Browns front office. You don't have the leverage. You had it last year. When Shedeur was still settling in. You had it 6 months ago. Before the offer started pouring in. Now, you're hanging on by a thread. Because let's be clear. If Shedeur leaves, Cleveland doesn't just go back to rebuilding, they go back to being a punchline. A cautionary tale. A sad ESPN segment with the same tired headline, What Went Wrong in Cleveland, Again? It becomes Johnny Manziel Part 2. Baker Mayfield Part 3. The Saga of Wasted Talent and Wasted Opportunity. Part 97. And Shedeur? He's not coming back to fix that. He's gone. Because once you leave a situation that doesn't value you, you never look back. And the teams chasing him? They don't just value him. They worship what he represents. Leadership. Modernity. Power. Presence. He's not a system quarterback. He is the system now. So while Cleveland's clinging to the past, Shedeur is being offered a new future. One where he gets to write the rules. And let's be honest, who wouldn't take that? Imagine walking into a meeting where the first thing they say is, "You're not just our quarterback. You're our blueprint." That's what Baltimore and New Orleans are doing. They're not asking him to fit into their mold. They're reshaping the mold around him. And Cleveland? Still trying to make him wear the same jersey that never fit anyone before him. Let's take a beat and talk about what this means for the rest of the league. Because this isn't just about Shedeur. This is about every rising star watching this saga unfold. Every 5-star recruit. Every NCAA QB with big dreams. Every young player watching how the league treats its stars. They're watching what Shedeur demands. And they're watching who gives it to him. If he gets this deal, it changes the game. Contracts won't look the same. Franchises won't negotiate the same. The next wave of athletes won't ask for a seat at the table, they'll ask to own the table. And if Cleveland gets left out of that movement, they become the team that refused to evolve. They become a lesson, not a competitor. But if they wake up and match the energy, they might salvage this. They might keep the future of the league in their building. They might finally prove they've learned from their past. And yeah, it's going to cost them. But you know what costs more? Losing him. Losing the only QB who could have changed their narrative. Losing the only reason national media finally started treating Cleveland like a serious team. Losing the hope they finally built, only to hand it over to someone else for free. That kind of loss? You don't recover from that. Not for years. Maybe not ever. So here's where we are. $275 million on the table. Two powerhouse franchises circling like sharks. A generational player with all the leverage. And a panicked front office with a ticking clock and one last shot to get it right. And the entire sports world holding its breath. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need the Browns. Not anymore. That might have been true a year ago. He was still fresh to the league, still finding his rhythm, still letting the narrative build. But now he's ascended. He's proven he can lead. He can win. He can inspire. He's shown that he's not just ready for the spotlight, he is the spotlight. And that $275 million? Is not just a number. It's a wake-up call. It's the market saying, we see you. We believe in you. We're willing to bet the entire franchise on you. Meanwhile, Cleveland? Still whispering behind closed doors about structuring a competitive counteroffer. Bro, he is the counteroffer. You don't counter the market when the market has already moved. You catch up, or you get left. And let's talk about the optics, because in today's NFL, image is everything. If Cleveland fumbles this, if Shedeur walks after one season of promise and hype, They'll become the joke of the league. Again, the TikToks will fly. The memes will be cruel. The "here we go brownies" chants will turn into full-on roast sessions. And the headlines? Oh, the headlines will be devastating. Cleveland finds star. Immediately lets him leave. The Browns curse, Part 78, how they lost Shedeur Sanders in the locker room in one off-season. From prime time to panic, why the Browns always fail the test of greatness. And it's not just fans who'll notice. It's agents, players, recruits. Entire scouting departments will cross Cleveland off their list when talking to top-tier talent. Because why would you send your golden boy to a franchise that doesn't know how to hold on to gold? And let's not forget the cultural impact. Because Shedeur is not your average quarterback. He's not a cog in the machine. He's a cultural figure, a statement, a symbol of what football could be when talent meets empowerment. He's young, gifted, unapologetically branded, and in control. And the NFL needs that. The fans want that. Kids growing up in cities across America, and across the world, are watching this and learning what value looks like in the league. You think they're siding with the hesitant, slow-moving front office? No. They're siding with the guy getting $275 million to choose his destiny. This is the new NFL. And if Cleveland can't adjust to it, they're going to fade into the background faster than a backup punter at media day. So what are the Browns really afraid of? That Shedeur's power makes them uncomfortable? That giving a quarterback this level of control sets a bad precedent? Because here's the truth they're avoiding. That precedent is already here. This is not a negotiation between a player and a team. This is a power shift. This is the league evolving in real time. Cleveland either steps up, or they become irrelevant. But look, this doesn't have to end badly. There's still a path forward. A difficult one. An expensive one. But one that matters. Cleveland needs to stop playing it safe. Stop hiding behind market rate, and internal discussions, and next steps. Those phrases don't hold weight anymore. They sound like excuses, not leadership. Here's what they need to do. Make the offer fully guaranteed. Bonuses tied to championships, not micromanagement. Include long-term marketing and brand development partnerships. Go beyond football. Think legacy. Rebuild trust, not just with Shedeur. With the locker room. With the fans. Show them that you're serious. That you've learned. That you're not the same Cleveland that fumbled history time and time again. Empower the star. Don't just hand him a contract. Hand him a seat at the table. Input on scheme. Vision alignment. A real partnership. If you're building your future around him, prove it. Because the alternative is a franchise collapse. Not literally, of course. The stadium will still be there. The merch will still sell. But the soul of the team? Gone. Shedeur represents a chance to do everything differently. To rewrite the Cleveland legacy. To matter again in a league that's passing them by. Let him walk. And you go right back to square one. And this time, there may not be another Shedeur to save you. So, now it's your turn. You've heard the numbers. You've seen the chaos. You know the stakes. Does Shedeur stay and force Cleveland to evolve, or leave and become the face of a new NFL empire? And if you were him, what would you do? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more behind-the-scenes quarterback chaos, front office meltdowns, and record-breaking deals that break the internet faster than a fourth-quarter fumble, you know what to do. Subscribe. Because this Shedeur saga? Yeah, it's still not over.